In the quiet corners of our lives, where noise fades into silence and silence into understanding, there lies a truth long overlooked. And so, as the breath continues its sacred rhythm, in and out, moment by moment, we return again to the realization that to love ourselves is to come home to a sanctuary that has always been waiting within. The world has told us many stories, that selflessness means self-neglect, that putting others first means forgetting the self altogether, that martyrdom is more noble than self-respect. And yet when you listen beneath all the noise, what Zen whispers is simpler and more ancient, that the self, in its undistorted essence, is not a barrier to compassion, but the very root of it. Loving yourself is not a fortress from others, but a bridge to them. You cannot pour tea from an empty cup. Likewise, the heart that has not known its own tenderness cannot offer true tenderness to another. When we slow down long enough to meet ourselves honestly, not as roles, not as performances, but as we are, something sacred awakens. It is not pride. It is not ego. It is a quiet seeing. Ah, this is me. And this being too is worthy of the same warmth I offer to others. To love oneself is not to inflate, but to include. To see yourself as a part of the great whole, neither higher nor lower than anyone else. It is not vanity, it is reverence. When you tend to your wounds instead of hiding them, when you listen to your needs instead of denying them, when you forgive your mistakes instead of punishing them, you are enacting the very compassion that Zen teaches as the ground of liberation. There is no enlightenment without self-acceptance, no true clarity without inner harmony. The river flows freely, not because it denies its shape, but because it surrenders to it. Likewise, your life gains its power, not by resisting what you are, but by embracing it fully. And in doing so, you become not less available to others, but more, because now you offer from abundance instead of depletion. The sacredness of self-love is that it makes you an instrument of peace. It teaches you patience, because you've practiced it with yourself. It teaches you gentleness, because you've lived it inwardly. It teaches you balance, because you've honored your own rhythms. To love yourself is to honor the divine spark that animates all things. And in that, you honor the same spark in others. In Zen, we do not separate the sacred and the simple. Brushing your hair with care, eating slowly, walking with mindfulness, saying no when your body asks you to rest. These are not selfish acts, but sacred ones. And so many suffer because they've never been shown this. They believe that love is something to be earned, begged for, proven, never realizing that the wellspring was always within. But to look inward with kindness, to make space for your inner world without judgment, to cradle your fears instead of scolding them. This is the revolution. It doesn't look dramatic. It looks like a quiet morning, like choosing stillness, like letting yourself be, without needing to be better. And from this sacred stillness, life blooms again. Relationships become less desperate and more genuine. Choices become less reactive and more intentional. And even the chaos of the world feels less overwhelming because you are rooted, anchored, held by your own presence. The lotus doesn't bloom by pushing harder, but by opening, and so do we. Let us remember, the most generous people are those who have first given to themselves what they wish to give away. The most compassionate healers are those who have tended to their own wounds. The most stable partners are those who have befriended their own solitude. And the most peaceful souls are those who have made peace with themselves. Zen invites us back to this truth, again and again, not through dogma, but through experience, not by thinking more, but by being more. Let the breath guide you now. Inhale, exhale. Feel how even your breath does not ask for permission to exist. It simply is. And so too your right to love yourself, deeply and unconditionally, simply is. You are not waiting to be enough. You already are. And so the wind continues to move through the leaves, not asking whether it deserves to dance, but simply dancing. And perhaps we too can remember that there is no earning love, only remembering it. Remembering that before the world told us to prove our worth, we were already whole. This is the lesson the still pond teaches when we sit before it in silence. It does not fight its reflections. It does not try to be more than water. It simply receives, and in that receptivity, there is clarity. To love oneself is to become like the still pond, open, reflective, spacious. Zen calls us back to this again and again, not to become someone new, but to return to who we've always been before we forgot. And we forget because we are trained to forget. From childhood, many of us are told we must earn approval. Be better, be quieter, be smarter, be more successful, be less emotional. And in trying to survive those expectations, we exile pieces of ourselves. But Zen says, come back. Come back to your breath, your body, your being. Come back to the part of you that has never needed to be anything but exactly what it is. Come back to the tenderness that has always lived beneath your armor. In loving yourself first, you give permission for all of your parts to come home. You say to the fear, you can stay. To the longing, I see you. To the shame, you are not a monster. To the joy, you are safe here. This is sacred. This is ceremony. And it is not selfish. It is self-remembrance. When you meet yourself like this, not as a problem to fix, but as a being to honor, something ancient stirs. Your nervous system calms. Your inner child softens. The chatter quiets. And in that space, a deeper voice speaks. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It says, you are enough. Not one day. Now. And when you live from that place, you become the calm in the storm for others too. Not because you are trying to be anyone's savior, but because your presence now carries the wisdom of having walked through the fire and not abandoned yourself. You have shown up, again and again, for yourself. And that is love, real love, not the kind that performs or pleases, the kind that listens, holds, stays. And the more you stay with yourself, in the anger, the grief, the joy, the stillness, the more life begins to trust you back. You stop fighting your path and start walking it. You stop fearing solitude and begin to savor it. You stop clinging to things outside of you to complete you because you are no longer incomplete. You are enough, again and again and again. This is not an idea to agree with. It is a truth to be lived. Zen does not offer answers. It offers space, stillness, silence, the kind that lets your own truth rise. And in that space, you begin to see clearly that your worth is not a performance, that your value is not conditional, that your love for yourself is not dangerous, but essential. The tree does not shrink because another is tall. The sun does not dim for the moon to shine. Nature does not compare or compete. It simply is. And so must we be. When we stop trying to win love and start becoming love, the whole world feels different, not because it changed, but because we did. And loving yourself is not just about self-care routines or daily affirmations. It's about choosing, over and over, not to abandon yourself. Even when the world does, even when fear knocks, even when failure stings, it's about saying, I will not leave myself. This is the vow. This is the sacred promise. And when you keep it, everything begins to open. Not because life gets easier, but because you are stronger in your softness, softer in your strength, grounded, clear, whole. You don't chase what doesn't feed you. You don't tolerate what dishonors you. You don't beg for what already lives within you. This is freedom. And it begins the moment you decide, I am worthy of my own love. And when that moment arrives, the moment you finally stop reaching outward to fix what only attention inward can heal, you begin to understand the full gravity of Zen's teaching, that peace, love, and wholeness have never been elsewhere. They were always within you, waiting quietly beneath the noise of comparison, the ache of proving, the fatigue of pretending. Loving yourself is not about ego, not about self-importance, not about isolating from the world or others. It is the humble act of returning to what you have forgotten is already divine. It is bowing to your own breath. It is becoming intimate with your own suffering, not to indulge it, but to illuminate it, to see where you have abandoned yourself for approval, where you've silenced your truth for belonging, where you've accepted less than what your soul knows to be sacred. Zen invites us not to escape life, but to live it fully. And fully means vulnerably, with presence, with simplicity, with radical honesty. And that honesty starts here. You cannot love anyone deeply until you love yourself without conditions. That doesn't mean waiting until you feel perfect. It means embracing yourself as you are, raw, messy, confused, brilliant, healings, whole. The greatest illusion we carry is that we are broken. Zen says that illusion is the suffering. You are not broken. You are covered. Covered by story, by shame, by the noise of a world that profits from your self-doubt. And when you sit still long enough, when you become quiet enough, when you listen with your whole being, you start peeling back those layers. You remember the soft places. You reclaim the forgotten truths. You realize that the sacred was never outside of you. Not in the partner, not in the parent's praise, not in the success or the applause. It was always in your capacity to be with yourself, in your willingness to stay. And this staying is radical in a culture of leaving discomfort, leaving hard conversations, leaving your own heart unattended. But in Zen, we do not leave. We stay, and we breathe, and we bow. We bow to the anger. We bow to the fear. We bow to the pain, not because we enjoy it, but because it's real. And denying what's real is the root of suffering. In presence, all things are softened, even the hardest truths, even the deepest wounds, because the body knows how to release when it feels safe. And safety begins when you say, I will not reject you, no matter how you show up. This is sacred love. This is the revolution. And this love is not selfish. It is clarity. It is foundation. It is medicine. When you know how to offer it to yourself, you stop needing it from others like air. You begin to relate from fullness, not hunger, from choice, not compulsion. And this is how your relationships transform. Not by fixing others, but by anchoring deeper into your own self-relationship. You become trustworthy to yourself. You follow through. You speak gently. You create boundaries not to punish, but to preserve what is sacred within you. You understand that love that includes you is the only kind that can last. Anything else is survival. And you no longer survive your own life. You live it, fully, slowly, consciously. The way the moon shines, not because it is trying, but because it simply is. You too shine, not by force, but by remembrance. So remember now, the part of you that existed before the world told you who to be. Remember the stillness that lived in you before your first heartbreak. Remember the ease of being before striving clouded your clarity. Come back. Come back to yourself with every breath, with every small act of care, with every time you say no to what dishonors you, and yes to what nourishes your being. Let self-love be your path, your practice, your prayer. Let it be soft. Let it be fierce. Let it be yours, because loving yourself first isn't selfish. It's the seed of every true connection. It's the root of compassion, the source of peace, the beginning of all liberation. You're not waiting for the world to show you your worth. You're remembering it, embodying it, radiating it. And in doing so, you become a mirror, not just for your own soul, but for others who forgot to. You give permission. You break the chain. Thus, you become the love you sought. Not perfectly, but honestly. And in this honesty there is sacredness. There is freedom. There is you. Whole, luminous, already enough. Take a moment now to find a quiet place. Let your body settle into stillness. You can sit or lie down. Just allow your spine to lengthen gently and your shoulders to drop away from your ears. Close your eyes if that feels safe, and bring your attention softly to your breath. Feel the breath moving through your body, like waves coming in and going out. You don't need to change anything. Just notice the breath. Inhale slowly and exhale gently. Allow each breath to be a signal that you are returning home. With every inhale, feel the nourishment entering your being. With every exhale, feel yourself letting go. Letting go of striving. Letting go of pressure. Letting go of the noise that tells you you are not enough. Bring one hand to your heart, if that feels comfortable, and feel the quiet rhythm within you. This heart has carried you through joy and sorrow, through effort and grace. Let yourself think it just silently. Now gently whisper within, I am enough. I am safe to be who I am. I choose to love myself, not in ego, but in truth. As you sit in this space, imagine a warm light surrounding your body. This is your own love, your own kindness, your own sacred presence. Let it wrap around you like a soft blanket. Let it hold you, the way you've always needed to be held. There is nothing to fix in this moment. There is nothing to prove. Just this breath, just this space, just this return to yourself. If any self-doubt arises, just acknowledge it and let it drift like a cloud across a wide open sky. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching only with love. Take 3 deep, mindful breaths now, inhaling deeply and exhaling slowly. Again, inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Once more, inhale and let it go. As you begin to come back to the room, gently wiggle your fingers, your toes, keeping this softness with you. And when you are ready, open your eyes, or simply remain in stillness a little longer. You have just practiced an act of sacred love, and the beautiful truth is, you can return to it any time, because it was never far. It lives inside you, always. If this message brought you calm, this space is always here for you. Subscribe, return, and walk this quiet path with us, one breath at a time. Until next time, remember, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete.